you were talking about what they think of the national tournament, and actually they don't see much of the national. When I get home on Sunday, and my son and my family will talk to me, and they'll be like, "Man, that one match, we're in the guts of the arena, and we don't come out. The only time we come out is with our guy, and then we have to leave. We're back in the underneath part of the arena. So after the tournament is running, you start to look at brackets and see things and hear about these matches that went on. Sometimes we'll watch a little bit when it's on the ESPN thing, and you can watch some of them on the board, but really you're focused on your 10 guys, and those are the only matches I really watch till really the finals. And then with guys in the finals, you're focused on your guys. You don't see much of the national tournament, either do they. So
how do you coach them to deal with the atmosphere, though? Because that can be jarring, I'm sure, for guys the first.
It is, but the good thing with our program is we get big crowds now. When we go on the road, there's big crowds, so they're used to that atmosphere. A bunch of them were here when we wrestled in St. Louis. Now that was the COVID year, so it was only 25% allowed in there, but they're used to the big atmosphere and the way they run the Big 12s, where they put the stage out in the center. It's in the big arena where we had nationals last year. It's there every year. It's getting bigger and bigger crowds. That I think the way they run it in Tulsa has helped get guys used to it. But it's just all year we teach our kids that here's the next match. Got Cornell lined up or Virginia Tech or Okie, and it's always a big match. So it's just, if you train them to do, just get into a boring routine, it sounds, but you always hear, we just do what we do. That was an old Pinkel line, but there's a lot of truth to that if you can make things a routine that are really, it's a good routine, then stick with it. And that's what these guys all throughout the year, they keep journals. We'll come back from a match and say, what'd you do different? Did you do anything different? Try to figure out why they wrestled really good or why they didn't perform good, and tweak and get it to a point where they know this is how I got to do it. What I'm going to listen to music-wise, who I want to room with on the road, and who I want to, warm up with. All those things you think are small, but they're important. They're really important. So we have that down at this point. Going into March, we know going into Big 12s and nationals, guys have their routines. We want them feeling positive and feeling good about what they do. They write down what their identity is, and what their moves are, and how they need to wrestle. So when I hear Josh, we've been preaching to him all year. If you're going forward, good things happen. All throughout the Big 12, he's going forward and good things were happening, and it clicked for him. So that's a big part of the national tournament, is getting them in that right mindset that we've trained them for all year.
What does it mean to you? Because this isn't just in Kansas City. Mizzou's a host,
yes.
One of the hosts. I know that's special to you.
Yeah. I think it's like the 10th time since I've been in Missouri. So 10 out of 26 years is an amazing, when you think about, some schools have never hosted national. A lot of them. There's 77 schools. So in the last 26 years, we've hosted 10 of them. So we've really narrowed it down that Mizzou is almost always the host, which is fun. I enjoy that it does bring a lot of attention to your program, to the sport. Kansas City all year has been talking about it. When it was in St. Louis, it's the same thing. Youth kids are going to be there and experience watching this unbelievable event where most kids won't travel next year. People won't travel to Philly, when it's in your home state, it really, it's going to educate the journalist. People are going to be there and watching and say, holy cow, wrestling. This is one of the cooler NCAA events I've ever been to. And I didn't realize it was this big of a venue, and it takes over a city for 5 days. Wednesday night, the bars and all the place establishments are full and rocking, and people are like best of friends, no matter what color shirt they're wearing. It's a really neat environment, because these people, it's a niche sport where these kids and families have grown up going to national tournaments, whether it's a kid nationals, a junior high school nationals, the junior national. So these families have seen each other and know each other, even though they may be families from different schools. And so they travel, and then the old guard, the old coaches, the old high school coaches are constantly coming back to this event. So it's like a family reunion. And that's why it sells out so quick. It's just people want to go to this, and it's the mecca of wrestling.
If Keegan can get to this place that only Jaden's been, what's the significance of that for him and for the program?
I have my mindset is there's no doubt, but it's probably the deepest weight. When I look at from really every round, it's really, really talented when you have returning national champs, a couple of them. And then you have a young freshman coming out. It's just the storylines and the drama. And now that David Carr's on our side of the bracket, that we'll probably, if we do see him, it's in the semis. But I don't worry about that. That's the journalists and my fans. I was in a movie when the brackets came out, and I had my phone up. My phone was buzzing, but I ignored it because you're not allowed to take it out of the movie. So I made my son, hey, let's go to a movie. And then he starts looking. I'm like, I don't want to know the brackets in the middle of a movie. You're going to distract me. He's like, but so no. I'm like, no, right. So, but that's just, I had all night last night and all day today breaking film down, but it's a neat event with Keegan. It's just going to be stepping on the mat and doing what he does. And if he does, there's a good chance he's going to win the national title. I mean, you've watched how he performs. I watched how he prepared just the last couple of days, just on some of the things that he felt he didn't perform well at in all the matches at Big 12s. And he's just, he isn't a perfectionist because he knows that can't really happen, but he's trying to get every detail ready. So I'm excited for it. The fan base is excited for it. All our guys getting the opportunity. I think Colton mentioned it, that he has the same guy, complete opposite seed. And that proves my point that don't worry about what your seed is. Just take it an opponent at the time. Don't worry. And Willie Nicholas, who was a 3-time All-American for me, used to say, man, coach, I'm going to go take some seeds from people. Because back then it used to be 12 seeds only and you'd be unseeded. Now they seed all 33 guys.
You filed front row seat his college career. What in your coach's eye is it that's allowed to keep him to be on the doorstep of the third straight national title?
The way he practices, without a doubt, it's his mindset. He's got I call it a beginner mindset. Like when you first go to, they always say young kids can learn better than us because they don't know anything yet. So they just want to learn. He has that he feels like there's days he doesn't know how to wrestle. I've heard him say that. Don't say that. I'm like, you know how to wrestle, but you just made mistakes today and we got to correct them. And then he gets his mind right and he's working on it. He just wants to constantly learn. He's always up there doing extra, and it's little technical things. A lot of people are like, man, I got to work harder. And they're trying to just lift and run and do all these things. With him, it's all the technical stuff. And then you see it happen in the matches. Man, it's a joy to coach that because you see the little details that he was working on in the practice room and then how it comes about in a match. Like, wow. And so it's fun to watch that, but it's what makes him so great.
Noah Cernal and Joffrey, the medical forfeit state too. Can you talk about that process and then where they are health wise?
They were injured obviously going in. We didn't wrestle in the last. Logan was for 5 weeks. So by Logan winning that last match, he qualified the spot. He was in a lot of pain. And I just told him, I said, you've qualified for us to wrestle you another match, could do more damage, and you may not be able to wrestle at the Nationals. Let's just shut it down. We were in 3rd or 4th place at the time. I just didn't think it was important at that point to score those points. And it may have made a difference. I don't know. I don't really think it would have. But I know I needed him at the Nationals. And it was the same thing with Noah. We were hoping Noah to get the first win. Then after that, we were like, how do you feel? And this and that, I can go. And unfortunately, he lost that match, but he got his 2 matches in. So we medical forfeit the second day because he was really in some pain. So, but, it's given us 10, 12 more days to heal up. And holding him out, it started on Sunday. That was our thinking.
What's the the overall health picture of the team in our nationals?
Doesn't matter now. And they know that now you're going to wrestle if you have, if your knees falling off. I've seen guys with braces and, and all this shoulder braces, everything that it's going to be, you just go in battle and you just forget about it and you can have pain and surgery afterwards. And it sounds kind of crazy, warrior-like, but it is at this point to go into the national tournament. Everybody at the national tournament from this long season has something. It's a tough sport. It's a combative sport. You're going to have injuries. Now you just got to wrestle through it. There is, to get to tomorrow and get to Saturday, you've got to battle through and have it. Keegan O'Toole, his freshman year, blew his ankle out, and it just didn't talk about it. When he untaped it after his finals match that year, when he won it was his second year, he couldn't even walk, but he didn't recognize it throughout the whole tournament. And that's that mentality you have to have.
John, so you had.
What's your message for some of the younger guys like Cade Moore coming off what may have been in his eyes kind of a disappointing conference tournament?
Second life, man. Let's go. You have nothing. You're playing with house money is the way I look at it. That just go out there and let it fly, because when he does, he's really good. And I'm excited that he got the opportunity. When we broke it down, at first I said he's got like a 1% chance. Then when I really broke it down, I said there's 7 guys for 5 spots. He's like 5 or 6. So there's a chance, and he did get it. And so now he has an opportunity to go wrestle and steal some seeds and move up and help the team and get the experience of being at the national tournament. And I've seen kids go in like that. One year there was a kid that was 33rd seed went on and became an All-American. So he has that opportunity now. We know he has talent. He's wrestled 2 guys that are in the top 10 right now, beat one, lost to another 10-9. So for him, he's got another life now. He's got to go live it.
What was your initial reaction when you got the news that he received an at-large bid?
Jess called me up, and I was sitting in the restroom, and Cade was about 10 people over, and I said, "Cade, you're in." And all the guys went crazy, and Cade realized, okay, that's why I'm up here today. That's why coach made me come up here to practice. So it was exciting. It's exciting. I mean, it's not an easy thing to get 10 guys to the national tournament. I think of, we've done it multiple times now. And yet when I think of all the injuries, just problems we've had this year with sickness and injuries, that to finally get to the point where we find out we have 10, it's almost like, okay, so all that hard time paid off. Now we have an opportunity to go do some great things in Kansas City. So I'm glad we got to that point, because that was our goal all along. We got to get 10 to Kansas City. So hearing it was not a relief, but just it kind of justified the hard times we've been going through and the hard work and hard schedule we put him through. That, by having that schedule, it allowed him to qualify.
What's the mentality got to be from your group, since you have to qualify to get in that team trophy and national title conversation?
I think if you hear the way they talk, they're a very mature group. They're very, very bright young men. A lot of them engineers, medical students, possibly all the time. With Keegan, he's gonna get an MBA and go far as a businessman. But they know and understand. We do mental Mondays, and it's a constant in our program that they know. We train them how to think and how to prepare and do things. They fill in journals. It's a constant in our program. So they're gonna get nervous. There's no doubt about that, but they know coping skills with that. They know that they're going to prepare the same way they've done all year. And they're in tough. The great thing is there is only one guy that's never been there. So they've walked through the tunnel. They've had to sit and wait for when they're on deck, and hearing the crowd going crazy, walking out there and experiencing it the first time when it's a packed house. They've all been through that multiple times. This is a very experienced team. So I'm excited about that, because I don't have to worry about those things. I just worry about maybe Cade for the first time.
What was the movie?
What was it, Dune 2?
Okay.
How was it?
I'm not a sci-fi guy, but my son is, but he made me watch 1, and I actually fell asleep. So I had him give me an update during the previews. What happened again? We're in the desert and all these things. And then we were back in the desert. And then at the end, it was like a 2-hour plus movie. I know there's going to be a 3. So I'm like, gosh, I have to go through to see 3 now. Hopefully it's next year on announcement night. So, but yes, it was Dune 2.
Josh Edmond, 3rd place at 141. Can you talk about, what he's been doing these past couple of weeks?
It's been the last few months. Just, he was going through a very frustrating time. He lost a bunch of overtimes and 1-point matches to all the top guys, and he just couldn't get a win. Then it just kind of started to happen in February, where he got 3 out of the last 4 wins, 3 of them being ranked guys. And then coming into the tournament, has Happel, and he loses to him, who he had just beaten a couple of weeks early, but it was a battle. But then gets win and a win and another, and he runs off a string of wins. And it's the way he's training and his mentality. He never got down on himself. He kept working hard, and it kept happening. And I've said that with a couple of the other guys that have been struggling, that you're good. You're a great wrestler. You just got to keep training. You know, it's like a hitter in baseball. Eventually you're coming out of this and good things are gonna happen. And Josh came out of it. Now he's really confident going into the national tournament. He knows he can beat anybody. Thank you.
Thanks, good.
Thanks, guys.